Blessed be everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about why you may be stalling with starting your Wiccan practice, or the reasons why you may not be practicing in the way that you'd like to. But before we dive into that, hi, I'm Sandra from MysteryWitchSchool.com, and if you're new to the channel and you want to know more about Wicca and witchcraft, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. And just wanted to remind you about my new book, Crafting Your Wiccan Path. It helps you connect to nature, spirit and magic through the practices of witchcraft, and you can get a copy of that either paperback or on Kindle by going to the link below this video and checking it out on Amazon. So one of the first things that I hear when I was asking people, before I started doing the Mystery Witch School, I went and interviewed people to find out the exact reasons why people were struggling with practicing the craft, because it seemed to be something that I was hearing a lot of. And the first one was simply not knowing what to do. For all of the books out there, all of the blogs out there, all of the stuff out there in the internet, people are so overwhelmed by it all that you just don't know where to begin. When I first started out, there wasn't all of that information out there. There were some books in bookshops, and so there wasn't that many. So it was pretty easy to go find a book and then start doing some of the practices out of the book. But even for me, while I'm pretty good at doing things from books, I didn't really establish a proper practice until I joined the Coven and had people teaching me what to do and how to do it. And even though some of the stuff that I was learning in the Coven I already knew from the books, I still felt that I learned more and gained more by learning from another person. And that's what we are as a species. We're a social species, and we learn from other people. And when we've got other people along for the ride with us, on the journey with us, whether that is a mentor or just other people of like mind that you may want to have a study group with, it just helps to have those other people there helping you along the way and being companions along the way. So if you're not knowing where to start, either find, if you don't have the money to pay for a course, find a book that teaches you basics and is structured in a way that's like a learning program. And just stick to that one book with your learning. The danger when you first start out learning anything is that you get all of this information out there and you get distracted by all of the shiny objects. So it's like a shiny object syndrome. You'll start out going, okay, I'm going to work with this book, and then you'll see another book about something else, and then another book, or you'll read something on the internet or see videos on YouTube, and you'll want to then go, oh, I want to try that, oh, I want to try this, oh, I want to do that, oh, I want to try that too. And then you get so overwhelmed that you just go, I have no idea what to do with all this or where to start with this stuff. There's just too much. It's called shiny object syndrome, and it can really get in your way of actually starting your practice. So either find a book that will help guide you, find a person that will help guide you, whether that's a coven or somebody that you may know. If you want to join the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy and learn Wicca with me, I have a course that is there that's where I'm guiding you every step of the way, and you've also got a community of other people to help you with that as well. The second problem that people seem to have is that you may be going along quite nicely with a practice that maybe you've got from a book, or you've got from videos, or you've got from a course, and then you hit a plateau and it's like, well, what's next? So this is where you can either go deeper into your practice, or where you can start then to branch out and look at these things you may have set aside that were shiny objects in the beginning and start to maybe specialize with something. So maybe you've got a really strong interest in tarot and you want to specialize with that, or you've got a strong influence in working with healing, so you want to explore that. There's different branches and avenues with this practice where you can become a specialist in certain areas, because we can't be good at everything. So when you've established a practice and you get to a point where you feel like you've plateaued, you can still go deeper with the self-inquiry and deeper in the practices with the deities. But if you want to start to branch out and look at working with energy healing or certain modalities, then that's the time to start looking at specializing and maybe grabbing one of those shiny objects and seeing whether that's something you want to pursue more of as well. The next problem people have, number 3, is time. Time is something you've got to put aside for this. You've got to make the time. We live in a world where we are not given the time, we're not allowed the time. It's almost like there's a conspiracy against spiritual work in our modern Western world because we're so busy surviving and trying to earn an income, doing this, doing that, having families, doing all sorts of things, that it's very easy to not find time for that practice. And for those of you who've perhaps grown up in other religious traditions where maybe you only went to church or something on a Sunday or a Saturday evening or something, and that was kind of it, or you may have said some prayers in the evening or something, this kind of a practice does require more time, particularly if you want to get really into really experiencing the juice that's in this. You do have to spend time doing meditation. You have to spend time learning how to connect with the elements and working with the objects of the earth, like crystals, like herbs. So it is time consuming. So time is something that you've got to make. And one of the problems a lot of people have with making time is guilt. Guilt about making time for you. And that's something you need to perhaps do some shadow work around. If you're feeling the guilt about taking that time out for you, taking time out for your spiritual self, your soul self, if you're feeling guilt about that, a way to look at this time for yourself and turning up for yourself is really to understand that the more nourished you are from a spiritual perspective, the more nourishing you can be towards other people. You have to nourish yourself first. So by taking that time out, even if it is at the beginning just 10 minutes a day, and nourishing yourself with these practices, you'll have more energy and more to give other people anyway, and other people around you, even if at first they're not too happy about you saying, no, I'm taking time out for me. When they start to see the benefits of what it's doing for you, then they'll realize that maybe this isn't such a bad thing after all. So make the time for this and really look at the excuses that you may be making for not having the time. What's your wooden leg when it comes to not having the time? Because we can always make time for things that are really important to us. 4th reason is that, and this is probably deep down a big reason, because I hear a lot of people say this, is lack of confidence. Not feeling confident actually sitting down and practicing the craft. You may know where to start. You may have a plan in front of you. You may have a really good book that takes you from A to Z in witchcraft. But you just don't have the confidence in implementing it. You don't have the confidence in yourself. And this could be from a fear of failure. You may be fearing that you're not going to get it right or that you're going to get stuff wrong. It may be a fear of the spirit world. You may fear that, if I do this, am I going to anger the gods? That kind of thing. And it can also be the fear of your own power and success. But we are very powerful beings, humans, and we do have the power to be able to have more autonomy over our lives and be more creative in our lives. And that can be something that's really confronting, because we are brought up in a world where we're told we're not powerful. We're told there's nothing outside of the material world, and that if we do try to tap into that power, there's some kind of repercussion. Whether that's coming from some traditional religions that suppress this type of work, or whether it's coming from the more materialistic science aspect that's saying this stuff doesn't even exist. There's that barrier there for us to be really looking at who and what we really are. And when we dig down and get a sample of how powerful we are, it can be so frightening that it actually stops us from doing anything. And that's a real barrier. It's like a ceiling that you get to in the practice, and it's really hard to go through that ceiling without doing the shadow work, because the shadow work will help you through that. So look at what your fears may be in regards to fear of failure or fear of success, fear of your own power, and the confidence aspect. Again, the way around these things is to have a mentor, to have a group of people around you who you can talk to about these things, people that you can ask questions of. These things are really important. That's why community is so important for this sort of thing. It just helps you with being able to get other people of like mind to let you know that they too have probably struggled with this stuff too, and how did they cope with it, and what did they do to get themselves around this? How did they navigate their way through this situation? Number 5 is rebelling against yourself. A lot of pagans are very autonomous people, and one of the reasons a lot of us are attracted to the craft is because we want to have more autonomy over our lives, and we do often tend to be the more rebellious types of personalities, and that can get in the way of our own practice because we can rebel against ourselves. A lot of the time we want it to be easy. We don't want to have to practice. We don't think we should have to practice. It should just come easily. We should just be able to connect with the gods and not have to do it regularly or set up a connection with the gods. We should be able to just do stuff because, you know, the universe is all giving, and so we shouldn't have to put in an effort. And sometimes we want to rebel against our own selves by saying, I don't want to do that because I don't want to do what somebody else is telling me to do, even if it's myself. So the rebel in you can be stopping you from actually having a practice and doing a practice. I know that because I have a rebel in me that often likes to get in the way and express herself, basically, the inner teenager that just wants to do her own thing and not have to have a discipline, a self-discipline. So that rebellious teenager that may be inside you does need to understand that sometimes self-discipline is okay, that it can be safe to be self-disciplined. It doesn't mean you have to be a tyrant to yourself. It just means that you need to find that balance between some leeway with yourself, but also going, I really want to learn this and I really want to do this. That means I am going to have to put some time and effort into it, which means I'm going to have to commit to it, which means I'm going to have to practice some self-discipline. And that's just how it is. So there you go. If you do want to learn Wicca with me, have a look at the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. The link is in the description field below this video. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. Blessed be.